Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk. We are ready to rock and roll. It is another Sunday. My guest could come on if you don't mind. We'll go ahead and get started. Before we get started today, I just wanted to say one thing. Today is 9/11. I definitely need to recognize 9/11. That was a horrific day. We have people on the panel here that was actually supposed to be there. We have people that were there. We know people that lost people. And I just wanted to make sure we recognize this day of 9/11. So I definitely want to send out my prayers and thoughts to the families who were affected, who lost parents and siblings and children and everything else. So just want to do that before we get started today. So thank you once again for joining us for Let's Talk 1943. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. You ready? Let's talk. All right, we're back, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be a good one today, ladies. I can't wait to talk about this topic. So, before we get started, like I always do, I like to say a prayer, if you don't mind. Lord Heavenly Father, thank you once again for bringing us here on this beautiful platform on Let's Talk 1943 to talk about actually you, Lord, and in the stories in the Bible. We just want to make sure that we are vessels and we are used in your way to be able to bring this word out, to motivate, to empower, and to uplift our audience. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. All right. So let me do my formal introductions here. And we have a special guest and we have another special guest. So I'll tell you why these ladies are special. So we'll start with Janine Graves. Janine Graves is currently lives in Greensboro, North Carolina. She is a administrative dean for grades 3 to 5 and administrator for special education at Summit Creek Academy in Browns Summit, North Carolina. And she is a founder of a ministry called A Better Daughter, which supports young women from the ages of 18 to 25. They foster support to young women and teach them how to advocate for themselves. So welcome, Janine Grace. Welcome, Janine.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. I can't wait to get into this. So next up is Ashley. She is my co-host. We co-host together on a show called Christian Chat. So this is my other partner in crime. And Donna is a school teacher. And as well as her family actually is co-host or co-founded the Gullah Festival that is located in Beaufort, South Carolina. And I would like to welcome Donna to the show. Donna, welcome to the other half, the other side of me.
Hello.
So when you see us go back and forth, you know we already got something here. So I'd like to thank y'all for definitely being here. And of course, my partner in crime on this show, Let's Talk 1943, Carla Morgan, who just celebrated a birthday. So happy belated birthday, Carla. No, you get old, girl. You know, that's okay. We getting old with you. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you had time for us today because I know how it is. You celebrate that birthday. Them weekends, you be tired. So thank you
Yeah.
for coming
I
on here.
celebrate all month, so I'm good. Today, all month long. I'm one
It
of
was
those.
just the beginning, right? Just the beginning. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get into this topic. So everybody know the title is "Where's My Boaz?" So we hear that all the time, all the time. You know, you hear it on social media, you see it on YouTube, you see videos, you know, all this. So we want to kind of just talk about what it means, why this is so prevalent today, why we keep using it, and are we really trying to find the Boaz? Like, what are we trying to do here? One of the things I do want to say to you is if you're watching, if you want to be a part, and I'm doing something new today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try this out. If you want to be a part of this show and you have a comment or question about what we're talking about, if you send your email address, my producer Carla will send you the link and we'll let you in and we'll actually have you live and we'll be able to talk to you about whatever the comment or question you have about the topic for tonight. So you have to talk about tonight's topic, but we'll definitely do that if you're interested. So just shoot that over and she'll take care of you. So I'm going to start with Janine. Because if y'all don't know anything about Janine Graves, this is a special occasion because she don't do this. So, but Janine has a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom in this topic. So I want to talk to you first. So when you hear about where's your Boaz, what comes to your mind?
I think that people use it lightly, and I don't think that women really understand what the purpose of marriage was if you look at it from a biblical perspective. And I also don't think that they understand the sacrifices that you have to make in marriage when you consider marriage. So, the first thing is that you have to look deep inside yourself and you have to say, hey, am I willing, first of all, to make these sacrifices? Because, God created marriage to have children, and it was supposed to be wrapped around ministry. So it's based on ministry, and you're really supposed to sacrifice yourself in marriage, and your husband's supposed to sacrifice himself for whatever God's purpose is. And it's a matter of getting together and really knowing what God says about why the both of you are together. And I think the world's perspective is that we feel like we're supposed to be happy. We feel like we're supposed to have our needs met and all of that. And that's not the purpose of why marriage was created. So it gets very murky, as my professor would say, very murky. Marriage gets very, very murky, and that word gets used very loosely when we really don't understand our place and our position in our faith and what that actually really entails, because it means when you're tired and you still have to get up and do those things that need to be done, it means that you're not happy all the time, because it's not about you being happy. It's what are you sacrificing to be in this relationship with this other person. So digging deep and really thinking about what marriage really means, because it's hard, it's not easy, and we can't walk away when we don't get our way.
That's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt right there. You can't walk away when you don't get your way. Don't know what you think. What about Boaz? What do you think we hear that?
Well, I think differently. I think in a different way than I did before I knew the story. So I think a lot of people, it becomes cliche, kind of like you mentioned earlier. People just, say it all the time. Where's my Boaz, But if you just think of that Boaz as just my mate, you know what I mean? Then you don't really have the understanding of what came along with that story. Biblically, that there's a whole story there. But if all you attach yourself to is the idea that Boaz equals mate,
right,
that could be anybody. Where's my John? Where's my Peter? Where's my Jonathan? You know what I mean? If you don't understand the story. Right. So when you understand the story, you do understand, oh, there was some faithfulness there. Oh, there's some loyalty there. Oh, there's some due diligence there. There's some work there. You know what I mean? There's some work there. And so when you understand that, when you really read that story, then it's like, oh, okay, that's the Boaz that I want. That's the Boaz that they talk about, or that's the Boaz I think I want. Like you have to really, kind of like piggybacking off of what you just said. When you know the story, your understanding is different when it comes to where is my Boaz.
And that's what I think that this is one of the reasons why I brought this up, because you hear it all the time, the cliche of "Where's my Boaz?" And like I said, I think it gets watered down that like somebody knows the story, but as the little phrase went down the line, people like, I just want him. Okay, but who is he? Do you know who he is? Do you know the story? Do you understand how much Ruth had to work? You know that she had went through a lot of trials and tribulations. You know she had a loss, right? Like, do you know all of that comes with the story? It wasn't just like she was like, "Girl, I need my Boaz. Where he at? He gotta come save me." No, Ruth worked. It wasn't just that, and I think that it's an illusion, like y'all both kind of said. It's kind of like people think it's supposed to be this so easy little fairy tale story, and this man gonna come in and swoop you up, and everything gonna be fine. And don't get me wrong, I mean, he's a good man, and we're not saying that. But it comes with a price. It comes with something. You get something, you got to give something. You got to put some skin in the game. It just don't come and everything just poof, good.
It's kind of similar to when people see nice things that other people have and they say, "Oh, I want that. I want that. I want that." But you don't know what it took for that person to get that.
Very true.
So you might want to rethink the things that you say you want, or the life of other people that you say you want, because you don't know what they had to go through to get where they are or to get what they have. So we just have to be careful with our words.
That's true.
I had a conversation with my parents last week about it because, I had been really praying just about companionship, but I do understand that I have to walk in whatever the calling is for it. And, just talking to them, and they told me so many things that they went through before they got married, that I did not know. And I was like, oh my gosh, like they, I see them retired. They moved from New Jersey to Virginia. They have a huge home. They're happy. They spend time together. They laugh. But to get to that place, I didn't even spend a whole lot of time talking to them about most of the things, just some things. And I was just like, wow, like they really had to endure a whole lot to get to this companionship place. And not only that, my mom married a pastor. So she had to learn how to be a pastor's wife and really go through a whole lot of transition in that process of finding her way in ministry. It just was a lot. And I'm like, wow, we think it's so easy. And then we want to walk away because it's not easy. But I think that it's fine if you want a companion. It's fine if you want a Boaz. It's fine if you want to even use it loosely. But you must understand that when you take on marriage, it is very serious. And it's a lot of hard work, and it's nothing but sacrifice. You sacrifice yourself, your husband sacrifices himself, and then that's how it works. That's how you all come together. But when we come in with all of these these notions,
expectations,
these preconceived notions about how it's supposed to look, and then how the world shows us, what marriage looks like, and it's a party, and it's a celebration, and everybody's happy, but there's so much more underlying to it that we have to really consider, before we take that step.
It is. Carly, you have anything you need to say about this?
I'm just trying to grasp what you're saying as far as the concept of marriage. I understand that it's a lot of work, and it's something that you're supposed to understand, that it's not all rainbows and roses, and it takes a lot to get to that point. I just want to be clear though. But does marriage always have to be? Does it have to be a struggle? Does it have to be hard? Is that what you're saying? Like, I just wanted to clarify that. Like, what do you mean when you say building toward? You know, when you're in a marriage and you're working towards being in a marriage or in a relationship, it's hard work. I hear that emphasized, but does it have to be? Is what I'm trying to say. Does it have to all be hard? Like, what is? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I guess. Can someone elaborate on that for me?
Yeah. Well, I do think it's hard work, and I
Is
wouldn't
that
say it's not. And I think it's a good thing.
It is?
Because I think that first of all, when you get to know somebody before you get married and and you're friends
Mm-hmm.
and you find yourself on one accord with
Uh-huh.
that person, and that person is where you are on your level,
Right.
you guys are going to already be in a place where you can work hard. But
Mm-hmm.
you are two different people coming with two different mindsets, and it's just not an easy thing coming in and then trying to become one.
Right.
So I think that I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm not going to say it's always hard, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that the steps that people take before they choose to get married are very, very important.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and and you made a point. Both of y'all have a good point.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be, of course you have enjoyment in your marriage, but I think where the problem lies is where we start off at, especially these younger generations with the social
Mm-hmm.
media, and everybody's is so into the party of the wedding, and people doing
Mhm.
that before,
Yeah.
even when we were younger, but now it's just like you got to have the best caterer. You have to have the best cake. You have to have the best this, the best that. Like nobody's talking about the marriage no more.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
then, our older generation don't talk at all. They didn't teach us nothing. Like our parents and their grandparents, they didn't talk to us about marriage. They were just like, "Oh, you get married? That's great. That's wonderful." They glad somebody wanted to take you off the, like, yeah, take her. There you go. You got. But you know what I'm saying? Like nobody really taught to us. The older generation didn't talk to us. And the
Mm.
younger generation got this concept because of the older, it flushed it all the way down. And now it's at the point now they just go by social media how it's supposed to look like. And
Right.
nobody really, everybody's walking around with blinders on. Nobody know anything, and everybody just trying to make it work the best they can.
Right.
But
Mm.
nobody's really understanding the core. And that's what Janine, I think you're saying. Let's clarify that. Like the core,
Mhm.
like you gotta get to that core and figure out like how this is supposed to work from the beginning. We
Yeah.
are kind of just building stuff on top of these broken foundations,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
we're going by what we think is supposed to happen. Like, but
Mhm.
what really supposed to happen? And the story of Boaz kind of gives you a concept of that skin in the game. Like a lot that was done before that day came that he asked to marry her. It's like a lot came with that. And a lot of us don't know that story. And so we kind of go into marriage thinking, like you said, oh, you love me, I love you, let's make this
Right.
happen, let's do it. And then
Mm.
when you get in there, it's like I'm a divorce next year, talking about he just don't get me. He don't understand me. Like y'all didn't understand each other because y'all didn't really do nothing but just say I love each other. Nobody did no work. Nobody did no counseling. Nobody did nothing.
Right.
And I think it's a forced reality of what marriage is, especially these days with social media. It makes it horrible, horrible.
Can I just chime in right here? I
Yeah,
can't
go ahead.
really speak to what makes marriage difficult because that has not been my experience yet. But I can speculate as to what might make it more difficult than it has to be. I think that you have to go into it knowing that you're going to die daily. And for
Mm.
people who don't understand what I mean, it's like you have to kind of die to yourself just a little bit because, as Denise said, it's not all about you. When you combine with someone, it's about us. It's not just about me, I, what I want. And until you are willing to let some of that go,
Right.
I don't know how a union like that will work if two parties are me, I.
Right.
There has to be some understanding that, okay, it's an us now. It's a we now. I may not feel like talking, but I'll have this conversation. You know what I mean? Like I'm really tired. I don't feel like you had a bad day. Okay. You want to talk about it? Okay. Like at some point, and especially in Regina and I have spoken about this a little before. The longer you are single, the more difficult it may be to become one with someone, because you both have probably been in your single space for so long that all you've known for a while is, this is what I like to do. This is where I like to go. This is how I am. Me. But now that you don't have to be that way, it's a different mindset. And just like you didn't get that mindset overnight, it might not change overnight. But at least, well, it can't change overnight. But at least if you have the understanding while you're dating that this is what we're working towards, you might understand, okay, this is going to be a little bit of a struggle, but we're both in this thing. This is what we said we wanted. So then now let's work.
That's what Janine is saying about the work. That's the work. The work is not working against each other. The work is working together to work towards the goal of service and what God has planned for you in that marriage. That's the work. So you have to work. And that means that you doing it. Y'all just perfectly. Oh, this is all tied in. So you have to work, and you do have to die daily, because you got to let go some of those selfish ways of yours, because they do too now. I know a lot of people are like, well, I gotta do it. No, they have to do it too. They have to let go of selfish ways too. But it's about being one. Like when we listen to the vows, do we really listen? Because like honestly, when I got married, I heard them, but was I really listening? You know what I'm saying? Because you're all in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, your head is
spinning. You hear everybody else's vows when you go to their weddings.
Yeah,
because you're not invested. But are you really listening to your own vows when you're up there?
Yeah,
because they
it's a lot of
what to do.
It's I mean, thinking back, I always wanted my way, and I remember saying, talking until I could convince him that my way was the way. No, that's not the way. Let's not do that. You don't have to change who you are. You don't have to be fake. You just have to they have some balance. Because sometimes when people think that, I'm going to have to be somebody I'm not, if I'm going to have to change in this thing. No, we have to be respectful. When I want to talk and I want to work through it, and then he's not ready to work through it, you're not changing yourself. You're just saying, okay, he's not ready to work through this, but I understand you're not ready to work through this, but we need to work through this. And if he's saying, yes, I understand that we need to work through this, I just need a minute, then you've come to an agreement, and neither one of you have changed yourselves. But when you start changing yourself, then that's not right. And so that's the reason why when you date somebody, you need to date with them through 4 seasons. You need to be with them through 4 seasons. And you need to date them, and you need to get to know them. You need to pay attention to the red flags and all of that stuff, and you need to get to know them through 4 seasons, through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then you can determine, hey, I've been through with this person. I know, I can make it work with them. You have the right as women. Just because a man finds a wife, finds a good thing, don't mean that he finds you and you're supposed to sacrifice everything. You find him, he finds you. What the word says, what it says, but we understand that we have a relationship with God. It's not about religion. So God wants everybody to have input and everybody to be secure in it. So yes, a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, and then you find him through 4 seasons. Okay. And then you determine,
I didn't go through winter yet, but
whether you can be on his page. And it's okay, because women have the right. And a lot of times we learn that we don't have the right. When the man chooses you, then you're supposed to be chosen. No. We have the right. God made us a rib. He didn't make us a mat to walk on. He gave us we are side by side. So we have that right.
Good point. Very good point. So when you in your single season, and if we talking about the Boaz and how Ruth did her work, we have to do our work too. Like he's doing his work and you're doing your work, and you kind of have to just let God figure it out that y'all could was mesh together, or figure, meet, or whatever the case is. And I was listening to someone one day, I can't remember her. Oh, Yvonne Orgy. So she was saying that a lot of times, you meet somebody maybe 2, 3 years ago, and then you just happen to meet them just one time. You just meet them and they go away. But that was the introduction. That was the way it starts. And you may meet this person again, maybe 2 or 3 years later, and then all of a sudden it works out. Like at that time, it wasn't meant to be. And a lot of times, I think we push and we force things and we try to make things happen because you're like, oh my gosh, like he's like my husband. I can see it, and then you make it and it's before it's time, and it ended up messing up because he wasn't ready and you wasn't ready. Sometimes things are supposed to just happen, and you're supposed to just meet someone and go away, and then they will come back if they meant to come back. I think that's one thing I had to learn in my journey, is to learn how to let things just flow and just not try to force and push everything, because that was my problem. I would think like, okay, I gotta make this work, I gotta do this. I'm trying to push, and then it wasn't meant to be, and that person was not meant to be. That was a seasonal person. It was not supposed to be a long term. It was just a season, and I made them long term people. So I had to learn that and let things just happen to flow. So I think that one of the things that we need to do is improve ourselves, and we need to work on ourselves. Everything, not just looks, not just, working out and eating right and all that good stuff, but internally work on ourselves. We need to know who we are. We need to figure that out. We need to work on skills. What can you bring to the table?
Right.
Like, do we ever talk about what we could bring to the table? We got to bring something to the table, not just your looks.
Right.
Not just you look good in a good dress. I need you to bring something to the table. Are we working on that stuff? Or we just think that we supposed to just get this great man, and then, he's supposed to bring everything. He's supposed to provide, protect, and do everything. And we just supposed to be cute. I mean, what do y'all think about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Joanna?
that's true.
I can remember thinking, this is years ago before I matured. I could remember thinking, well, if somebody, wants to talk to me, if they see me, it's not going to matter what I have on or how I look or whatever. But you know what? You got to leave the house looking like something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get into that mindset of, well, if God is sending him, then it doesn't matter, what I have on. He's going to see right through. No. No. Men are visual beings. Let's just put that out there. So yes, after they get through all the outside and all that stuff, they get to know you. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you need to leave the house looking like something. You know what I mean? You need to take care of your outer appearance, and it has nothing to do with weight. You have to care about yourself. Like, you have to care enough about yourself when you walk out of your house. So when you go to work or when you go to the store, you need to feel like you take pride in yourself. If you expect someone else to come along and, they can't do that for you. No. They can't make you feel proud of yourself. They can't make you feel confident. They can't make you feel pretty. You have to do all of that on your own. And so if that is where some people are, then you want that fixed within you before you meet your Boaz. You don't want to still be trying to figure all that out when he comes along, because then that timing won't, just like you said before, maybe if that happens, the timing won't be right, and then you'll get yourself together. Maybe you'll meet again. You know what I mean? But you do have to do that work on yourself first, because self-esteem and pride and all that, other people can't do that for you. You have to do that for yourself.
Yes, you do. Big time. Colin?
No, I agree. I think it's very important that you have to work on yourself and be confident in yourself, and just do the work on yourself, and the rest will show up. It will come. Whatever you're working on inside will attract what you're supposed to have on matching what you feel about yourself on the inside. If that makes sense.
So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Yeah, you can't expect someone to fulfill that for you on the outside. You already have to be that, what you want on the inside, and the right circumstance, the right person, and that's in anything, will come towards you once you do the work on yourself. And that's, like you said, whatever makes you feel good. Losing weight, working out, putting on a different thing of cologne, or perfumes, or it's just psychologically doing the work, feeling good about yourself, loving who you are as a person, getting to know who you are and what you will and won't tolerate, and just having boundaries and standards for yourself. And those type of things will emanate out and will attract the right person, guaranteed.
Right,
So yeah.
right. That inner will always do it, and that's something
Yeah.
else I had to learn. You're too busy
Not just
trying to worry about the outside. Don't get me wrong. Like Dawn
mm-hmm.
said, you got to do right, because I mean, you learned that even you, at jobs, you supposed to work towards. You supposed to act like you're at the job you want to be at, right? So you need to act like you're a wife, and
Right.
and approach yourself as such, and carry yourself as such. And that's another lesson I
Mm-hmm.
had to learn too. You got to carry yourself as such. If you want that Boaz type of guy, he's not looking for
Mm-hmm.
someone who has every piece of their body out. I'm telling you that right now. That's a wrap. You're gonna
Nope.
get the one that's just looking for that. But
Nope.
if you
Mhm,
you really honestly talking about where's my Boaz, look in
mhm,
the mirror at yourself and say, would Boaz want me as I am right this moment?
mhm,
Think about it. Would he? If you're out there showing every little piece, and doing all that, all these little pictures on Instagram and Facebook and all this stuff, match it up. Does it make sense? Are you really going to get that kind of guy if you're doing this? Like, come on, let's be real. I mean, what do y'all think?
Mm-hmm.
Unless somebody wants that kind of guy,
Yeah. They
if you
call
want that kind of guy, that's what you'll attract.
they call them thirst traps for a reason. They
Yeah,
call them
but
thirst traps
and
for a reason.
that's what work. That's the inside problem, though, Carla. That's the inside problem. If you're insecure who you are, you're
Yep.
using what you got to get attention. And you know how somebody say all attention is good attention. Like, they don't see it being bad attention. As long as the guys say they look good, they're happy. But it's not gonna go
Mm-hmm.
so far, because that's all he sees. He's not looking for you in the soul. And you know how sometimes you see women in different shapes and sizes walk, and they have this confidence in them. When they walk in the room, they just attract the full room. Women and men, they like, oh, who's this person walked up in here? Because they know
Yep.
who they are. And then they're like, well, how did she get him? You always hear these stories. How did she get him? Because she knows who she is, and she did her work, and she knows that she's valued, and he saw her value, and he went ahead and they can see through all that materialistic stuff. They can see right through it, right through it.
Mm-hmm.
We're not fooling nobody, y'all. Y'all can save y'all
Nope.
money. Save your money. Don't.
I
They
also,
see
I
right through it.
also, I also think that it goes back to what you were saying about how people don't talk about the expectation of marriage and relationships. So if we don't talk about things and help younger women understand how to carry yourself, understand how to love yourself, if we're not having those conversations with younger women, then how are they going to know how to carry themselves? They're only going to use the visuals that they see on TV and things like that to be their guide. Like, that's the reason why with my ministry, I've always worked with young women. I started working with a ministry called Pretty in Pink when I was at my former ministry, and it worked with younger girls. And so we did vision boards, and we talked about, what do you want to do when you grow up, and talking about dressing and things like that. So if we're not having those conversations, and we're not mentoring, and we're not helping, then there is not an awareness of how should I carry myself. you know um there's not a lot of awareness of marriage. There's not a lot of awareness of, how do I date. Like, I believe that fathers should date their daughters. They should take their daughters out on
Mhm.
dates and show them how they should be treated when they're on a date. And I think mothers should do that too. And so if we have to kind of reach back and really start helping, um, the younger generation, so that they're aware of those things. Because if not, they're just going to see the visuals that they see out in the world, and that's going to guide them anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, that would be a great start to kind of stop the cycle of what's going on. Because, like I said, our parents did the best they could, with us. We're not bashing them, but sometimes they just didn't tell us certain things. We just had to learn on our own. And the older generation, their parents didn't say nothing at all. So it's kind of like we was out there on our own trying to figure this thing out. We were just like, yo, you love me, I love you. Let's make it happen. Let's just get married. Yep. I mean, I didn't know to look for certain things. I didn't know to certain signs I was supposed to say, oh, shoot. I mean, they think about this. Because society kind of makes you feel that trophy thing I always talk about. They think you get married, you got the trophy, you won. You won. You're not nobody till you get married. You get married, you won. And the ones who single, it's like, oh, you still don't have nobody. Oh, man. Let me try to hook you up with one of my friends.
No, that's just so wrong. It's just such a wrong way of thinking.
What we do.
Sorry, you have to watch who's in your circle too, because you could be in that relationship that you thought you wanted, and you see the red flags, and you may share those flags with your friends, and then they may come back at you with something like, well, nobody's perfect. There's always going to be struggles. There's always going to be trouble. So no, he did this and he did that, but it's okay. Y'all can get past that. If you are at a point in your mind that you're saying, this is not something that should be happening. This is not something that I'm willing to live with for the rest of my life. I don't think I could marry, with this happening. And then you share this with your friend or people in your circle, and they're like, well, come on, Regina, nobody's perfect. You're not perfect. The idea of trying to talk you out of what you know instinctively, like what you have felt. So that's why you have to watch who's in your circle, because if they are not the ones in the relationship, they are not feeling what you feel. They may think that they're helping and trying to, guide you or whatever. But if you have the feeling that this is not good, something is not right, I don't like how I just saw him treat that person, and just certain things, just are not feeling right. I don't care how long you've been in that relationship. Before you walk down that aisle, you have to listen to yourself. Now, as I said before, I'm not speaking from experience, but I'm speaking from what I can speculate. And I know if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't right. And I don't need people in my ears telling me, oh, Donna, come on, this is nothing. Well, this is nothing. I'm expressing to you. That's why you have to watch your circle.
Well, too, Donna, sometimes your circle don't know better because they insecure themselves. It's not even like they're intentionally doing it. They only doing what they flight or flight, right? They doing what they know. And they're like, yo, he ain't hit you, you good. You don't know where they coming from. You know what I'm saying? You don't know where they coming from. Some people are like that. Oh, he just said that he hit you, so he just talking. We just talking. He just cursed me out. We talking about he just talking.
And that's what I'm saying. They're not trying to be malicious.
Right.
So this is what their experience has been, and they're just trying to help you maybe get past something. But that's why I said, just be mindful. You know what? You can even keep them in your circle. Just be mindful of who you listen to.
Right. Well, don't tell everybody everything. You can't tell everybody everything. That's not come up. You got to compartmentalize certain people. Unfortunately, that's just life. You have to be careful who you tell what, because you know who you're going to get from what you're going to get from this person, what you're going to get from this one. And will it benefit me to tell this person this? Will they be able to assist me, or will they just pile on, or not be able to give me good sound advice? But it also goes back to what I was saying before about you, once again, got to do the work in yourself and know your own intuition and your own standards, and know when you see something and that doesn't feel right. And then you know for yourself, like you said, Donna, that it's not right. So no matter what no one else says around you, you know for yourself that it's not a good thing, that you don't feel good about it. Right. So, and that's the work that goes with doing the work.
But see, when you want this Boaz that we're talking about, right? And you want to actually do it that way, if you want to do the Christian way or whatever way you want to call it, it's hard. It's hard because people are going to go in your ear and go, "Are you crazy? This, he wants to do this, and that. You're not going to do this and this and that because what? Man, you better get over that. You better get this man before he goes somewhere. You get old. Like, you're going to hear a lot of chatter because in today's times, the world's the way they see relationships, they don't see them the way like this. They want the benefits of it, but they don't want to do the work for it. So they don't understand what comes with this. And you do certain things Janine was saying, like when you sacrifice and stuff, some people probably say that you being too submissive, or some people probably say to you, girl, you doing all that for that man? He ain't doing all that for you, or they don't know what they talking about, but they see your part, and they've been, in bad scenarios. They have issues. They have bad relationships. So they didn't see you doing all this. Like, girl, I ain't doing all that for no man no more. He gonna have to do this for me. I ain't doing all that because I did that before and he just burnt me. Well, you was with the wrong dude. But it doesn't change on how you're supposed to conduct yourself in a relationship. It stays the same. You just had someone who did not respect it and took advantage of you. But you don't change the way it's supposed to go. You change the man you with because he didn't respect it. I mean, that's what I think.
And I don't think it's a matter of, because when you say sometimes that women in marriage have to make sacrifices, the first thing I think women think about is I have to clean, I'm going to have to cook, I'm going to have to, you negotiate those things with your husband.
Yeah, because he may be the better cook. He might like to cook.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, if he's the cook, he's the cook. If he's the one that washes the clothes, he washes the clothes.
Right.
But what I'm saying is there's a negotiation. Like, you guys have to come together on it. Like, you're not going to sit and just let him, you come together, and it's an individual thing. Mm-hmm. Every marriage is an individual situation. And so it is not about saying, okay, I'm going to have to sacrifice and do all this stuff. No, it is just that you cannot have your way. And it work. Everybody has to come together and really communicate. And how can we come together and really make this thing what God has called it to be, and really make this thing work and not fight each other, but come together and be whole in it and be at peace in it. And so there are men out there like that. There are a lot of men out there who really want a great relationship and want to be at peace. And so they have gotten into relationships with women who there is no peace. And so it's hurt them. And so, I think that it's just about coming on one accord, mm-hmm. and reaching whatever those things that you reach in that individual marital relationship. But even before marriage, you just have to be yourself. Live your life. Like you don't need to be looking for just live. Just have fun. Go to work, go out with your girls. Live your life, and then that brings life to you. You have to live. And we're not sitting and waiting for somebody to show up at our doorstep, but we're living, we're enjoying our lives. And when that life shows on you, you draw life to you, and you'll draw the right person to you because you're living your life and you're at peace. And then you're now ready if you're ready, then you're ready to take that next step with that person. And you're not going to draw nonsense because you're going to shut that off and create a boundary with that right away. But it's just about, we have to live every moment of our lives. This is the life that we have. And God will draw what needs to be drawn to us when we live our lives every day.
At the time it's supposed to be drawn to you too. The timing. Like, if you're not ready, he's not going to bring it. And it's obviously something's missing. You need to work on something, because if it's not coming, something's happening. You need to still work, or he has other plans that he got to do at that time for you. Like, it's not going to happen when you want it to happen. So like Janine said, when you live your purpose, let's go find that first. A lot of us don't have that yet. Let's go find the purpose first.
Find that first.
Live your purpose.
You're going to be happy. You're going to be happy.
And that's going to zoom outward.
That's right. You're going to be happy.
Find that inward outward.
That's
We don't
right.
want that now because now you're happy because you're doing what you're supposed to do, and that person's
Right.
gonna cross your path. He probably maybe he's at the same place you at doing whatever community service project you have, and y'all
Right.
have that in common, and before you know it, y'all have relationships started. But a
Right.
lot of times we're so worried about going out to find this person. I gotta go out, girl, to go push a bunch of men. We're gonna go find. And then you get there and you find something, all right. You're gonna find it, but it's not gonna be what you want to find. That's
Right.
so if you go out and just say, hey, I'm going, like Janice said, go with my girlfriends, go out and hang out, or go find something you love to do. If you love animals,
Mhm.
go volunteer at an animal shelter. If you love
Yeah.
the homeless people, go to the food bank or go to the homeless shelter. Volunteer a couple hours a week. Find purpose. And when you do that, first of all, you're gonna realize that your life is not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah.
Because people who single think that's the worst thing ever. They think that they're gonna kill over because they single. Go find people who don't care and have a flying foot they have a man or not. They need to find out they're gonna eat tomorrow. Let's go try that first. And you'll realize your life is not as bad as you think it is. And then when you find that purpose, you're gonna be waking up in the morning just so grateful, first of all. So grateful that you're able to help others, but so grateful that God has gave you so much that you don't have to worry about finding out how you're gonna eat tomorrow. You have over your head. Start with that stuff. And don't worry about all the other stuff will work itself out, but just do the right thing and serve. Serve. I guarantee you will be happy and you will meet so many. First of all, you connect and network when you do that.
That's right.
People outside of the people you usually deal with.
Mhm.
And then they say, hey, just Yvonne Orgy one more time. She said, you never know. You'll meet someone who you never thought in a million years y'all would connect. And that person will say, you know what? I have this function that, I would love for you to come. And you probably, I ain't going to, I don't know these people, all that. And that's the place you're going to meet that person you never thought you're going to meet. It's those type of meetings that happen that are unique and organic that you need to try. And stop trying to go to the same club, the same spots, the same, like you go to the same place over and over again. And meeting the same people. They going to the same place you're going to. You see the same people over and over again. Try something new.
And go, and you know what? And do these things
by yourself.
By yourself sometimes. Because sometimes by yourself. Not with a bunch of women and all that stuff, because sometimes the man probably or somebody that's interested gets intimidated when you're surrounded by a bunch of people. Sometimes when you're out by yourself, you're just looking like you're enjoying life and you look happy and fulfilled. That's when you attract a person too, when you love them. So
we talked about that on the show before. And Cookie said she used to date herself. She used to go out once a week, get dressed up, and go to a nice restaurant and date herself and go get a nice meal.
Yeah. Sit at the bar if you don't want to sit at the table. I don't mind sitting at the table. Okay.
But being by yourself and learning how to love yourself and date yourself,
that's right.
Shows confidence in yourself right there. Just being by yourself.
That's right.
And then you're not looking for that in somebody else.
Right.
So you're not getting married for somebody to make that, to fulfill that in you. You already have that fulfilled in you. So now you're able to give, what you need to give to that person. You're not waiting for them to fill you up.
Right.
But that's what Boaz saw in Ruth, right? Because Ruth was just handling her business.
Yep.
She followed a lot of instructions too.
Yes.
Before she met him, there was a whole lot of. She had to follow some instructions.
That's right.
And, we have to get quiet, and I bring it back to God because that's just who I am. But if you can find your place in God and you can get quiet, you'll find a whole lot of instructions. God will give you some instructions on some things that you need to take care of before you lay down at the bottom of somebody's feet.
There you go. That's it. But that's called listening, and all of these things that we're saying today, ladies and gentlemen, is like I said, always throw stuff at you. Take what you feel is for you and leave the rest. But these are all great things that you can start pondering, start thinking about, and just in general, like if things are not working the way you're doing them, and like here's some ways you could try. Go out by yourself, find out your purpose, go volunteer your services, fill your life up with joy and happiness in yourself. And everything will fall into place. I promise you. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe all these opportunities that opened up for me since because you start volunteering, people always love a volunteer person. I'm telling you, they just invite you to these places, go on these galas, and before you know, you be all over the place and knowing so many different people, and you'll just open up your whole mind will just be blown out. If you just if you just try it, just try something new. Definitely do. Um, I wanted to because we were talking about looking for a man, and that was one of the things I was saying I had to talk about because you think about that. How many times you out there looking for a man?
I've been there in the past. Yeah.
Mhm.
In
Yeah,
the past. Yeah.
yeah,
In
for
the
sure.
past, right?
Yeah.
Looking for a man.
Yeah.
Y'all want
I
to talk about
find
that?
myself though, I mean, I find myself doing that every once in a while still.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not the past for me. And then I have to remind myself, live your life, live your life, go on, do your thing, follow the directions God's given you. But I do. I mean, I think I went through that a couple of weeks ago. Just,
Mm-hmm.
you can turn on some music and then your head starts thinking about stuff, And I was like, But yeah,
Well, you be
you
human,
know,
Janine. We're
and you just
human.
think,
You get
yeah, and
those
then
feelings and them
you're
thoughts
like,
once in a
it's all
while.
right. I mean, it's part of who we are. It's part of our desires as women. God gave it to us. It's all it's and then wanting to have someone in our life, a companion, is part of how God made us. He
Mhm.
made us companions. So that's natural. That's natural.
And one of the things too, when you think about your Boaz and you think about what God thinks that you need, not what you want. A lot of these men that you think is like you have this image of what this man's supposed to be and look like. I'm telling you,
Mhm.
sometimes it's
Yeah.
not what you think.
Stop it. Stop it.
It's not what you think.
Take that out your mind.
There's a lot of times
Mhm.
I know, I can guarantee you in my life, I probably had some good men in my life I let go because it wasn't my type.
Right,
Hallelujah,
right.
what that is.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
type.
Yeah.
And when you fall into that trying to, and my type it is my type, but I think it was more to make it look compatible. It looks like someone I would be with more than somebody I need to be with, or if I just didn't worry about other people and just worry about me and being happy and
Mhm.
not worrying about how it looks on the outside to the rest of the world, I
Mhm.
guarantee you there's several guys that I had a great relationship with. And probably one of them was the one I supposed to be with, but I was too concerned on how it looked.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I will say this, and this was my daughter was in just my Jaya,
Uh-huh.
Regina, was in fourth grade. She was in fourth grade. And she's in college now.
Yes.
And I was coming out of I was picking up girls from my ministry and I ran into a pastor coming out. And he said to me, and he stepped back and he looked at me. He said, "You know what?" He said, "God is waiting for you to know what you want. So God will give you the desires of your heart." He said, "God is waiting on you to tell him what you want." And I don't know, like maybe recently I started really thinking about that, but
Mm.
years ago. So, God will give you the desires of your heart because He doesn't want us to be miserable. But, what do you want that's deep down inside that's really important to you? That's what we have to think about.
And I think a lot of us don't do that. Donna, what do you think about that? I don't think a lot of us do that. I don't think we sit down and go, you know what, God, this is what I want.
I think sometimes we think we know what we want, but until we know what we want, he's like Janine just said, he's probably, or know what we need.
Right.
Not going to bless you with it. Or even if he knows what you need. We all know that. But if you're not ready for it,
Right.
it's not, you don't want him to give you something that you're not ready for because you're going to mess it up.
Yeah.
So you want to be ready, but you also have to know what you want. And just for people, even for the sake of this conversation, people who are saying they want to be married. Okay. But do you really want to be married? Like, do you understand everything that means? you know. And so until you have that come to Jesus moment with yourself about, well, I know what I say I want, but do I really want to? Like, you really have to do some self-examination and think about it. And so that's why it may take longer for some people, because maybe you say you want that because it's time to want that.
Mhm.
But do you really want that? Like, do you understand what it is that you're saying you want?
Mhm.
And sometimes I just think people don't.
Yeah. And when you think about, getting old with someone, and what if they have health problems? What if they're young and they have health problems? Like, you know what I mean? You have to be able to endure that. I mean, I think that there's a lot of great moments in marriage when you have the right person, but there are times when you're gonna have to step up and really be there and not walk away from the marriage and the situation. And though all those things have to come into play, and then for you too, like, if I have a cold, I want somebody to bring me ginger ale and soup. Like, I don't want them to say, hey, see you later.
Right.
I'm gonna need
Only
you.
when you get better.
I'll see you later on the day. No, I'm gonna need you to bring me some soup. I need you to check on me. And so, what kind of character am I drawing?
Yeah, you don't want to have to tell them that, and when you have to tell them that, that's the problem.
And if you do have to tell them that, it's okay. It's the
Yeah.
willingness. That if
Yeah.
somebody is willing,
Mhm.
say, hey,
Mhm.
like I had my husband asked me, my first husband, I'm divorced, but my husband, he asked me what kind of flowers I like. That was very nice because I'm not a rose person, but I really like wildflowers. Like, I really like, that was very nice. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Is he willing to ask those questions? And if he doesn't, are you willing to say, hey, I really do like wildflowers more than I like roses. It's okay. It's
That's true.
okay. That's all about communication.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. Because sometimes people don't know unless you tell them. You can't just assume that.
And
You
Janine, you
know.
brought up a good point real quick, Regina, if you don't
No, go
mind,
ahead.
about, are you willing to be there when the person gets sick? And you mentioned, growing old with them, but, you know, people don't necessarily just get sick when they're older. You
Mhm.
could marry young and there's a health, crisis with your spouse. Are you going to stick that out? Or are you going to have the mindset like, wait, we just got into this. This isn't what I signed up for.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to really think about all those things in sickness and in health. Are you really willing to kind of stick with this person no matter what? And I will never forget when my mom got sick, she had cancer. And my dad, the way that he was caring for her, I just saw love at work. I just saw it. And, before she passed, she actually told me, one day she said, Donna, I want you to marry a man like your father.
Mm,
She said, I
that's
really
great.
hope you marry someone like your father. And so to me, I'm like, hey, I will be single as long as it takes, until God sends who is supposed to be in my life. I'm okay with it. And so that's why the older I get, like Regina, you mentioned how people might say things like, you're getting kind of old, like, what are you waiting for? Look, I've not been in a miserable relationship. I've not had a companion that was, mean to me. I haven't had any of those negative experiences. So if that is what it would have been if I wasn't ready, then fine. I've been single. I've not had anything negative. I've not been in any abusive relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like all the
Right.
negative stories you hear. I don't have any of that. So I'm okay. You know what I mean? Now, that's not to say that if someone were to come in my life, I wouldn't welcome it or I wouldn't be, happy to have someone. What I'm saying is I have been kept out of miserable situations possible. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't
Right.
have those stories.
But there's good sides on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Both sides have good things. That's what
Yeah.
being
Right.
single has good and being married has good. It's
Mhm.
not a better situation on both ends. That's the problem we got.
Right.
Marriage supposed to be better, single's supposed to be worse. It's not that. each side have their pros and their cons, and no one is better than no one else. Because single people will say, "Oh, I just want to be married. Three of us been married and divorced. We've been single and married before,
Right.
so I can tell you on both sides of this thing. When you're single, it is great sometimes. You don't have to answer nobody. You can do what you want to do, whatever. But then there's times you do want companionship. You want to share things with. You want to go on vacation with. You want to, just to have somebody smile at you. Is you smile back and all that good Gucci stuff. You miss that. But on the other end, like Donna said, I'm single, but guess what? I don't have to deal with when you have an attitude. I don't have to worry about this, and I don't have to worry about answering you, and I don't have to worry about. There's good and bad in both sides. So
Right.
we need to make sure this is an even playing field. It's based on what you're ready for and what you're able to deal with. It's got nothing to do with if you're single, you this, and you're married, you that. No, it's not, because both sides will tell you something totally different. They'll be like, "Girl, I wish I was single," because I tell you,
Yeah, they
that's
do.
how married women will tell you that they wish they were single and have
Mhm.
to themselves and be
Yeah.
able to do what they want to do.
Yep.
So make sure you know what you want to sign up for.
Right.
Because
Bottom line.
everybody can get married. Everybody can get married. So you want to get married, you can go out there and get married. But what
Mhm.
you sign up for, sometimes, like Donna said, it's not worth it. I'd rather be single and have a good memory of my life than to be married somebody just to be married and then have to go through this horrific relationship or abuse or whatever I might have to go through just to say to y'all, I finally got married.
Right.
It's not worth it.
Mm-mm.
Like you were saying about before you get married, Janine was telling me about a book that she was reading, and she's saying that she wants to finish. She could tell you that in a second about that book. But in general, single ladies who never been married, or even if you've been married, do your work. Read. There's books that tell you about your love language. There's books that tell you if you spiritual, if you're religious, whatever way you want to take this. Do your homework. Do a lot of reading. Watch videos. Look about marriage, like the good and bad, ugly. They actually had a show called Black Love on one of them stations.
Yes, I call it struggle love, but yeah, I know what you mean.
She said struggle love.
Yeah, everybody on here went through some kind of craziness to find each other, and I'm just like, it doesn't always have to be that way, though.
Right.
But you know what? I think that's good for people who never experienced it. You got to see both sides. And I think it's good for them to see, because these people on the show look like they always happy. Like they're celebrity couple.
Yeah.
So you always see them all happy, smiley, whatever. But they like on the show tell you, listen, I bounced for about 2 months because I couldn't take her. She was like, they went through stuff. So you need to sign up for it, because it's not gonna always be happy. Like Janine said, it's work. It's not gonna always, every day you're not gonna be smiling. I guarantee you that. If you think that's what it is, don't do it. You're gonna be highly, highly disappointed. You gotta understand, marriage come with these social media got y'all fooled. Got you tricked. It's not what you think it is. It's a beautiful thing. Marriage is a wonderful thing. I would love to be remarried again one day. I do want to be remarried again. I claim it, and I know it's going to happen. But I know what I'm getting myself into, and I know I did my work, and I'm continuing to do my work.
That's it.
It never ends.
No.
It never ends. I'm always going to prove myself. So, Janine, you want to tell them about the book you were talking about?
So I do not would have the rights to this book or whatever you're supposed to say.
Yeah, that's right. It's, I own no rights.
I'm not making any money off this. So I like Tony Evans. I listen to him a lot, and this book is actually for married people, and I believe in reading books that are books for married people to get insight. Not books for single people all the time, but books for married people. And this book is called Kingdom Marriage. And it talks about, here on the back it says, you may have a wonderful, fulfilling marriage relationship, or it may feel empty and hopeless. But no matter what's going on, God has a purpose for your marriage, and it's probably not what you think.
Probably not.
He explains what marriage is really about and how your marriage can align with God's purpose, no matter what state your relationship is in right now. With practical insights from scripture and stories from his many years of counseling couples, he shares his heart for marriage and its place in the kingdom. So that's why I said it was an ouch for me when I started reading it, because it was not about what I wanted and what my needs were and what his needs. It was literally about, okay, what ministry did God put for the both of you to be doing together? And
Right.
that's why you're together.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he talks, it's very deep, you know, what he talks about, but it's very, very informative. And it really gives a good understanding for Christian marriage, for Christians who want to be married, and how they can come together and really have an amazing marriage.
Yeah, go do your work. You know, whatever you decide to do. I mean, that's one book you can read. Like I said, love your love signs. That's another. I mean, there's so many books out there that you can read, and I
Mhm.
guess you got to prepare yourself. Just like we said, you always prepare yourself like you at that job you want to be at. So if you want to be married, you need to start reading married stuff. You know, so you can prepare yourself to be someone's wife and start conducting yourself as such as someone's wife now as a single person. Then it's not going to be no big trick or for your not trick, but a big change for you, you know, when that time comes. So this has been wonderful, ladies. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. This is great. I
Me
was,
too.
whoo, this is a topic though, you know. So
Yeah.
y'all hear that, Boaz? Please read Ruth. Please educate yourself on the whole story.
Read all of it.
Catchphrase. What you say?
I said, read all of it.
Yeah, don't read just the, you know, the at the end. Read the whole thing. Read the
Mhm.
whole thing. So I'm gonna do a couple things before we head out today. Um, 1 second. Yes, buddy. No, we're about to lose it. Okay. All right. This is for sponsorships. So if you're interested in using this show, this beautiful platform to recognize your business, your product, or your service, is only $15 a show. And this is what I will do. I will put this up here, your media flyer, and we'll talk about your product or service. And you know, go ahead and get some people to purchase your item. So if you're interested, let's come to Let's Talk 1943 at gmail.com or my website, www.letstalk1943.com. And we will love to share your business on our show. All right, we're back. All right, ladies, before we head out, I will always say I like to just go around the horn. Everybody can say their last comments or quotes or anything you want to say. So I will start with Donna. Don't you have anything to say before we close
Well,
out?
I know it. I knew you would start with.
I sure will.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for having me. I hope that I was able to, you know, share something that might have blessed someone this evening, or maybe given someone a different perspective to think about. And anytime you need me or would like to have me back on here, I am willing.
Of course. Of course I will. Janine?
All right. Thank you again, Regina, my friend,
No.
for having me. She knows I don't do stuff like this. Um, but I do like to speak from my heart and from what God has given me. And I just say for everyone, live in the moment of your life. Enjoy the life that God has given you.
Amen. And just really quickly, about 5 years ago, me and Janine was driving to Jersey. We have our class reunion. It's coming up again, ladies, next year. So we were talking about stuff like this, and she had gave me some good advice. And at the time, it was over my head. I wasn't there. I wasn't even there yet, and I couldn't understand how she could just be so grounded into singleness like she was. Like she was so grounded in it, and she was like, "Is I just know I'm patient. I know that it's worth the wait, and I'm just living my life, just like she just told you. She told me that, and I was like, what? I was on every dating site. I was, I was doing everything. I was like, well, you got to be out there for somebody to know where you at, and da 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 da, you know. And but Janine, I finally got it. Thank you. You started the seed in me. You put the seed in, and grow from there. I finally got what you were saying. And it's not worth it. I'd rather be with one person. It'll take 5 years to get than to be with 5 people in 5 years. It's not worth
Yeah.
it. It's not worth it. So thank you. I want to tell you that.
I love you.
Love you, girl. Thank you so much.
Love you too.
Just excellent. Of course, we always have excellent shows, but this one is definitely, I appreciate you ladies for coming and joining us and sharing your insight on this topic. It's really something we have to touch on and reconnect with ourselves on. Like, what are we looking for, and who do we want? You know, what do we want? And if we are considering marriage, what do I need to do with myself to be prepared for that? You know, looking at it from that perspective is a great thing. So thank you for sharing that with us. I appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. I'm sure y'all will be back. I'm sure.
Yes, the Jersey girls are in the house tonight. We had all Jersey girls, all class A up here tonight. So we got all this is a Jersey show tonight. But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. I love you all. Thank y'all for joining us. I'm hoping, like you said, you get something out of this show. I mean, I definitely learned a lot from y'all today, and I'm continuing my quest and my journey as I've been doing for the last 3 years. And just be patient and know that that day will be coming. And so until next time, God bless. Thank you so much. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.